Barry, fix the graphics, Barry. What's happening? They didn't load.
Listen,
Are
we
we
got
in
this
the
new
void
minimalist
again?
style.
We're back.
There you go.
We're back in the void. No.
Hello. Welcome to Court of Swords, episode 137,
Hello.
where we don't have graphics for the start. That was actually my fault, not Barry. Barry, you didn't do anything wrong. It was my fault. Where's Max? I don't know. He'll be here soon. He was more worried about getting the number right in chat, which means two things. He was either at Starbucks getting a drink, as he's prone to do, or he was taking a shower and fixing his title while in the shower. So he's in chat right now. He's more worried about what's happening on the show than being in it. So, you know,
All right.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Where to begin? Let's start something different here. Or start with something different, I should say. Dan, what movies have you seen in the past week?
I saw The Gentleman.
How was that?
It was actually very good.
What is the premise of
Huge.
that? Strippin's talked about it. He's seen it twice, and I just know it has Matthew McConaughey in it. That's it.
The basic premise is that this reporter guy, played by Hugh Jackman, is trying to blackmail this drug dealer and his crew because he has all this information about like this big thing they did.
Okay.
The movie's all about him telling the story of what he did and all the proof he has about it. And sorry, Hugh Grant, not Jackman. Sorry, Hugh Grant.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry, yeah,
That
Hugh Grant.
completely changes what I was imagining.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little different. Different.
Yeah. So he's presenting all this evidence, and it's like a bit of action, a bit of like mystery, a bit of like drug, like it's like dark comedy mixed with action and stuff. It's quite a fun movie with lots of twists and turns in it. I really liked it. So like they talk about like they're just discussing it in the present,
or is it all fiction?
It's all fiction.
Okay. All right.
Hugh Grant's amazing in it. I've never seen him play a role like that before, and he was just hilarious and just the life of the movie.
Huh.
He just did such a good job. Normally, he just plays Hugh Grant in every fucking movie, but he's did this really well.
Very
it was
true.
super impressive.
Just a British person. He just plays a British man.
Yeah. He's in love with somebody, and he can't get her, and gets her at the end. You know, it's all the same.
Sure.
But he was very good and funny, and like had an amazing accent in this one. It was quite good.
Awesome.
I really liked it. Yeah.
I watched. Have you seen Marriage Story, Dan? Have you?
Oh yeah.
What did you think?
Watched it a couple days ago.
It's an interesting movie. It's weird to talk about for me. What are your thoughts on Marriage Story, Dan?
My respect as for the two lead actors grew immensely because they acted their asses off, especially during the apartment scene with the continuous, like that was so intense. I forgot they were acting like it was that good, but as a whole, the story is very depressing and
it's a very depressing movie. It's one of the most depressing movies I've seen in a long. I mean, the end is kind of like, and then the kid grew up and his parents were divorced. Spoilers, but
yeah,
I think I echo what you're saying. The apartment scene was. It's weird to talk about this because we're probably going to have to spoil some of it. The apartment scene was great up until he decided to hit the wall, and then I was like, all right, this is a little bit much. Like that was a little bit too much emotion in that. But apart from that,
too much Kylo.
Good. Too much. Yeah. It's like he became Kylo. He became a Sith for about 5 seconds. It was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the scene with the expert counselor or whatever that was sitting in on him and his son when they were that scene was fucking hilarious. And then it got really really dark at the end when he took the razor and he's like, oh yeah, I do this razor trick with my son, goes like that on his wrist, and then he's just fucking cut his wrist. He's just bleeding with this X-Acto knife, and he's like, no, I'm fine. Yes, you have a great day. And he's like trying to open the lock and just bleeding all over this poor woman trying to escape this fucking apartment. Yeah.
It was some really good dark comedy in there. I was cracking up.
Yeah.
And also creeped out at the same time. It was great.
It was a lot. Yeah. So I watched that on a plane. That was a weird movie to watch on a plane, but that's
a very emotional movie.
Yeah, without a doubt. Anything else you've been seeing at the movies?
I think that's it since
Okay.
last time we talked.
Okay. All right. Have you watched Afterlife, by the way, Dan?
What's it on? Is it
It's
a
on
movie
Netflix. It's a 6-episode show. It's Ricky Gervais. I can never
Oh,
say his name.
yes.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Talking about depressing things. That might be the most depressing piece of media I've ever watched, but at the same time, like one of the most uplifting.
Fucking Gervais is like so famous for that shit. Like, have you watched Derek?
No.
Tell me you watched Derek.
No, I don't know what that is.
Mhm.
Derek is another Ricky Gervais like series where he plays this guy named Derek who is mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
He's slow, but he has this like huge heart.
Okay.
And he works at this retirement home or something like that.
Okay.
Hospice care or something like that. And it's like every episode, it's like even more so than Queer Eye, that show, every episode, just tears. Just like, just ugly cry mess at the end of Derek. Just like, oh God, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Have you seen Afterlife, Zeke?
I haven't yet, but I want to.
Man.
I'm rewatching Mr. Robot.
That's a good thing to rewatch. I haven't watched,
Yeah.
I started the final season and I got 2 episodes in, and then for some reason, drivers and dine-ins and dives just took over again. So,
What a trade down, dude.
look, man, I don't want to think when I'm going to sleep. All right. It's so much easier just to turn that off and just, my brain just starts to melt and it gets back into that mush where I like it instead of having to think.
Oh, yeah.
with Mr. Robot.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Mr. Robot, you have to think and all this nonsense. But yeah, the first, like the opening scene for Afterlife, Zeke, he like watches. So the setup is that his wife died of cancer. Okay.
Okay.
And
Are you going to tell me about the show that I'm going to watch?
No, just the opening scene. So
Okay.
so you're aware of what you're getting into. Because like when I say this show is depressing, this show is fucking depressing. Like it is one of the most depressing things, if not the most depressing thing. So he's watching a video of his wife.
Hold on.
What?
Is he a giant asshole?
Yes.
That okay, I
Somewhat.
have seen it then. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so you have one. Yeah, he's watching the video of
Yeah.
his wife, and his wife's like, cancer patient. She's sitting there telling her, or telling him, like, live your life to the fullest. The next scene is he's in a bathtub with an X-Acto knife at his wrist, like getting ready to kill himself, and the dog comes in and starts barking. He's like, oh, fuck, I have to feed the dog. If I kill myself, no one's going to feed the dog. So then he gets up and feeds the dog. And it goes from there. It's a lot.
I have seen it then, yeah.
It's a lot. It's really good, but it's a lot. Anyways, that's
So Max.
Yeah, Max. Have you played God of War? Quick transition. Okay. All right. You were in Canada land, right?
Yes, I was.
What part of Canada land were you in?
Were you in the Couve?
I was in
it's
worth it. Just
Alberta.
I mean, if you want to call it that, you can, but nobody here does.
Oh, Vancouver. Yeah, I don't think anybody calls it the Couve.
No one does. I called it that because it's annoying to people who live there.
Yeah, a valid reason.
The Couve.
Yeah, I was in Edmonton, Alberta, visiting some buds there and hanging out, and it wasn't as cold as doesn't snow at all either, which is weird. Doesn't just kidding. There was snow. But it wasn't like stupid cold. I guess just before I got there, it was like -30, -40 kind of stuff. And then when I got there, it was like, it's like 30.
Yeah, what?
28? I don't know.
What was that? Fuck, now my geography is, my Americanness is showing. There was some place in Canada where they had like some ungodly amount of snow where like entire houses were just in snow, like up to the roof.
Oh.
Was that Nova Scotia or
like,
Halifax or something like that?
Yeah, it's like more northern. I'm pretty sure. Forgive my geography if it's wrong.
According to people in China.
Or northeast. Yeah, okay.
Newfoundland,
I was
Newfoundland is an entire province. You're gonna have to be more specific.
Well, they're all Americans.
We're not from Canada.
We're from America, where we know we're like 2 states, our own and California.
Listen, and it's not fair to be like, well, you don't know our geography because you probably do a lot better than us because you travel around here in the states.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I saw like a time lapse of that. It was pretty crazy. I saw one of those things where it's just like somebody's driveway and then just time lapse of their car just being covered completely with snow. There's no car. You wouldn't know there was a car.
Yeah.
If you just walked upon it.
It's dangerous.
But yeah. was fun. I had a donair, which I've had before, but I had another one.
What's a donair?
Apparently, people say Costco's poutine is supposed to be good. Can you confirm or deny this?
Uh-oh. We've riled the beast.
I knew this would probably get at him a
So
bit.
it's not like, okay, so first of all, there isn't
The commoners
really
believe
good
that
poutine.
Costco has a good poutine, but
there isn't really
There we go.
really good poutine anywhere outside of Quebec, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like unless it's somebody who lived in Quebec and moved somewhere else and opened a poutine place, in which case it's still Quebecois poutine. Like they're just doing it some other place.
Right.
Costco, like I will say, I can see
It's
I can
Costco.
see Costco poutine being good in the same way Costco pizza or Costco hot dogs are. It's cheap.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
Cheap.
you don't
it's
go
not
there
bad.
for like
Yeah.
fancy poutine, you know?
I would
Just like
eat
you don't go there for
Costco
fancy
poutine.
pizza.
But if anybody told me like Costco makes the best poutine, I would be like, you're out of your fucking mind. Who are
No,
you?
well,
Go back to
I don't think they were
Edmonton,
saying that.
where you belong.
They weren't saying that. They were just saying like, yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Am
Yeah,
I
I
off
mean, I
base
buy that.
by saying that poutine's not that difficult to be good?
Motherfucker, you could say the same thing about sushi. Like, I don't know, man. He's just cutting pieces off a fish, so
Well,
I don't really get it. It's not that big a deal. He's just cutting
I
the
would
fish.
argue that the ingredients
even
of
cook it.
sushi are a little more volatile in the way that they spoil and are fresh and bad. I think
I
it would be
suppose
easier
you're
to make
correct
a
there,
delicious.
Adam.
I think you can make a delicious
saying.
poutine out of subpar ingredients, whereas subpar sushi is very apparent with the ingredients because it's fish and it's.
I mean, I think the worse your ingredients, the harder you have to work to make them taste good. So,
Sure.
like, could
Yeah.
a very excellent chef make a good poutine out of like so-so ingredients? Probably.
Probably, yeah.
There's gonna be a bottleneck, right? Like, there's a point at which you're like, I could just be eating Costco poutine like a god, but here I am eating this pleb poutine instead.
Yeah.
also expensive,
yeah.
like good ingredients for sushi. I think the main thing I'm saying is good ingredients for sushi. It's probably going to
Can
be
be
more
found at
expensive than
Costco,
like
right?
really good potatoes and really good cheese. Like those aren't inherently
So just
expensive.
can we all just take a moment to recognize that as Max was saying that, he said potatoes in an Irish accent.
Yeah.
I cannot be the only one who heard that. Somebody else must have heard it be like,
Where else are you gonna
"Listen,
get good
poutine is
potatoes?"
just cheese and gravy and potatoes." That's how you pronounce it. Yeah, it's the
potatoes.
natural.
I thought he turned into a hobbit for a second, but I could see the Irish thing as well. Either or. It depends on if you've
What are
watched Lord of the
hobbits
Rings for the past
if
month
not
or so.
fantasy Irish people?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's not that far off. Like they're just supposed to be rural English people who are very quaint and what have you. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
potatoes.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time in Canada. I was in your neck of the woods in Chicago, Max. Went to,
I don't live in Chicago anymore.
you know, that place
Yeah, but
where
you
you
still
grew
own
up
it.
and lived it and own it.
I did lived it there.
Yeah, you did lived it. Yeah, you lived Chicago.
I was Chicago for
If you can lived it there, you can
You know,
live
they
it
say
anywhere.
it's the windy city there in Chicago, and they're right. It was windy. It's windy as shit. I was not into the wind.
that's not
JP's got the one Yelp review.
lived it there.
Common mistake to call it the Windy City because of the wind there. That's not actually why we're called the Windy City, but whatever.
Why are you called the Windy City person that doesn't live in Chicago, but will defend Chicago to the death?
Damn right.
I can't remember the exact.
You don't even
political comments,
remember
but there
what-
was- No. I remember part of it, not
Okay.
all of it.
Is the part you remember that it's not
Number
called the
3.
Windy City because it's windy?
Let me tell you
No,
a
it
little
was a
story about
political
why they call it the
conference that happened,
Couve. You see,
The old
Some big
coup.
political
Many
conference
years
that
ago.
happened there, and the whole idea was that all the politicians were blowing hot air, so they called it the Windy City, which is a really
I
dumb way to
see.
get that name.
I
But that
see.
is where it came from.
Well, it was
It is
windy.
also
it's
quite
better
windy
than
there.
Yeah.
it's better than Chicago Palace of Lies or like Chicago Cavern of Untruth.
Dude, that would be
like
sick.
it's not
If
the
my
bull
city's
Chicago, the
moniker was
bullshit
the
city.
Palace of Lives. That'd be incredible. So good. That'd be great.
Isn't that really stupid though? That's where it derives from, Windy City. Because politicians blow hot air. All right,
Whatever.
buddy. You really just wanted to nickname the city, didn't you?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, New York is big, but it's not like it's an apple. So like we got to give them a little bit of
It's true.
room to make shit up. It's
guess,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Politicians in Chicago have a rich history of being full of shit.
I think
True.
that's just most politicians, but you know, that's
we got a pretty good history of being corrupt.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll allow
We
it.
sure do.
You can have this.
We
one.
had a lot of mob stuff happening there. Little guy named Al Capone was there.
That's true.
Heard of that guy?
I have heard of that guy. Yeah. Yeah. We went to the world's largest. No, that's not true. We went to one of 5 Starbucks in the world. That's the largest Starbucks, called the Starbucks
This story-
Reserve Roastery. Is weird.
This story just went from really exciting to completely mundane in one sentence.
It
We're
was
like,
weird.
we went to a large Starbucks.
It was 5
Not the largest,
stories.
just a big one.
It was 5 stories.
Yes.
That's a huge fucking Starbucks. They had,
Yes.
I don't even know how to talk about it. I had a flight of coffee, 36 ounces of 4 different coffees that cost way too much. I don't recommend going to the, Starbucks roastery.
JP, without realizing it, you might well have made the claim correctly the first time. It looks like the world's biggest Starbucks is indeed in Chicago.
oh, is it the biggest of all time?
Hell yeah,
yeah,
it is.
it
There you
may. Yes, it is. Yeah, as of September, it is the biggest. It's the biggest one. It's the one on Magnificent Mile. It's the biggest.
It was
Starbucks
big,
in the
man.
bet you
world.
it's super corrupt.
There was
Yo,
a 10-minute wait to
you were-
get inside. 10 minutes to
Yeah,
get inside of a Starbucks.
You were accidentally not full of shit. Is that
Yeah.
why they kicked you out of Chicago? Because you kept telling the truth by accident?
Probably so, yeah. They didn't want any more hot air in there, so they didn't want the windy
We
city
got
to
enough of
make
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had some
A
coffee
deep
there.
dish Starbucks.
And then I went to Alinea,
How was the
Max.
coffee?
It was good. It was
Oh,
all
shit,
right.
Millennium?
It was all right. Alinea was really the star of the trip.
Alinea? Is that the crazy
Yeah, it's the 3-star Michelin
Restaurant?
restaurant. Yeah. Really
How's
weird.
that?
I found out that I don't necessarily like super the food was not the best food I've ever had in my life. But the experience was the best experience around food that I've had in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because everything about it was just ridiculous and hoity-toity and nonsense. But if I were to look at each and every single one of those individual dishes, I'd be like, I've had better somewhere.
I've also, and this is gonna make both me and you sound
That's fine. Everyone
shitty.
already thinks I'm an asshole.
But part of being in this industry, for a lengthy period of time, you're gonna have some really nice meals, whether it be socially with friends at events or just because it's a business thing and we're going to this fucking amazing steakhouse or whatever. Like you have a good sample size of like what really, really good food tastes like. So when others do the same kind of thing sometimes, and it's like a really fancy restaurant, sometimes you're like, it's good, but it's not as good as I've had it over here before. And it makes
Yeah.
you seem like a bit of a...
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense. I think that logic tracks.
It was also the best. I'm not one to go for wine pairings. I also don't enjoy wine. This was without a doubt the best wine pairing I've ever had before.
That's nice.
It was
I can
ridiculous.
enjoy that. Yeah. I think that's underrated. Because for me, I'm not like super into wine. But when a place is like actually like really excellent with their wine pairings, you're like, oh fuck, I see why.
I see
this
why
is
people
really
enjoy
good.
this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me
Yeah.
want to get go to training to become like a shitty sommelier or whatever, so that I can try to
yeah.
pair my food, pair this McDonald's cheeseburger with some wine, because it might make it better.
You have the McRib.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go in my
Give me a
archives
red.
of that. I'll
Let
be
me
back
have
from
one-
the cellar.
Let me get one of these reds real quick to pair with the McRib.
Let's go with a Franzia perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was good. If you ever go back to Chicago, you should try to go. It's recommended. It's also weird. They painted a fucking painting out of ice cream, and then you eat the painting that they made. It was a weird
That's just
thing.
geting crazy.
It was a weird
That's
experience.
just getting a little crazy.
You walk in and there's these weird branch thing that's on a mechanical spin, and you're sitting there talking to the waiter. He goes, all right, so in front of you have your first dish. It's these little fried sweet potato things that's stuck in the spinning branch that you have to reach up into the branch and pull out. And we're like, can I just have this on a plate? What's happening? There's way too much.
If you want to eat the second course, you have to get through Jimmy the Shiv first. Jimmy's just like, come on, buddy, let's go. Come on, you want your steak?
Yeah.
Let's go. And he tries to kill you.
Here's
But
the
if
other.
you kill him, you get all the steak you want.
To go back to the dessert thing, you remember in Ocean's 12, the second one, I think that's 12, where the master thief is listening to some EDM as he's going through all the lasers? Do you remember that song? That song
Yes,
is
I listened to that
basically
song
what
quite a lot.
played as they made my dessert. and they were like in
Really?
the rhythm of that song. Like it was these two
They
people.
have someone off
You
to
sure
the
you
side
didn't
too,
accidentally
with
go to a
fog machine and
Benihana's?
someone with lasers.
No, it was ridiculous. Yeah, they had like we were in this closed off room and they like blasted EDM as they made our dessert in front of us, and then threw this weird concoction down that like exploded when it hit the table, and then like Pop Rocks was popping all over the plate. They're like, all right, here you go, eat
The
it.
fuck? You like have a DJ that's just on instead of a meal cart, it's like a meal cart but with a DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Skrillex for a little bit. He's gonna DJ this
The other
this
funny part
ice
is
cream session.
I saw them like
You just found
warming-
your new job, Max.
Yeah. I saw them warming
do it,
up
fuck
like
it.
a fog machine. I was like, why the fuck is that person have a fog machine? During the dessert, they piped in fog into our like little cubicle room thing that we were in eating that had like a scent to it that was supposed to make the meal better. It was really weird.
Nice.
But I recommend it if you go back to Chicago anytime soon, Max.
Yeah. I shall just wait how many months do you have to wait for
I
that?
think it's like a 3-month reservation period. Or you can
Yeah.
just like be on a waiting list and they'll just call you 24 hours and say like, hey, we have an opening. And then, yeah, that's usually the
Maybe
easier way
I
to do it.
shall. Yeah, maybe I'll try to time it up with like a family visit. The thing is, though, is if I took my mom would appreciate it, but she would still be like, "This is too much. What are we doing here? This is way too much." My dad would just be frustrated the entire time. Be like, "Do they just have a steak that I can eat now?"
That was the other funny
He's a
thing.
simple man.
In the meat portion of it, you know how you like everyone touts like, oh yeah, we have like A5 Wagyu, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They were like, this is A7. They don't even talk about it when you go to like order Wagyu. This is A7 Wagyu, excellent cut. And I'm
I
like,
immediately don't want to go there kind of now because of that.
I was like, is that a real fucking thing? Or you just,
What is it? Just you spanked the meat a little bit when it came here?
I don't
Wait,
know.
hold on a second.
I don't know. Also, they might have.
Um,
That might have been some of the extra seasoning. You never know.
They just like massage the meat extra and whisper positive things into the raw meat while it gets there. That
Think
makes it A7.
Maybe. You never know.
Doesn't
You never know.
exist.
It might. Anyways, Adam, what have you been up to the past week?
Right now, I'm looking at pictures of beef.
Nice.
Yeah, looking at a $890
A7?
steak.
Yeah.
Right now. Yep.
Yep.
Mm.
Apparently,
Also,
it goes all the
on the
way
topic.
up to 9.
Oh, really?
the
So I got the
scale,
shitty
yeah.
steak. I got like shit steak, is what you're telling me?
I mean, if you're a game review website, I guess a
Jesus.
7 is bad. But
Wait, A7.
Is it actually anything significant, or are we talking like, hey, yeah, you can get 5G, but really 5G is not really practical, and no one really has 5G really if you have 5G?
one presumes that
This
the
is
higher
yes.
you go in the end of the scale, the tighter each thing is to the thing behind it. So like the difference between a 3 and a 5 is probably a lot more than like a 7 and a 10, right?
Mm.
Like there's more. That tends to be how these things work. But also like I don't know if I'd be able to tell. I would just be like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then they give me like a even more expensive one. I'd be like, it is also pretty good.
Does it have to do
Is
with
it
the
better
At a
or
market?
certain level,
I think
what-
so, yeah. I
Okay,
think
so
that's
it's just
mostly it's
a
the
fat
quality of a
marbling?
bunch of stuff, but yeah.
but at a certain level with steak like that, once you start getting up into the A5 and stuff, and you've had different types of A5, it's like it's just butter steak. It's just very rich,
Yeah.
like butter steak. There are nuances and difference and stuff like that, but it's just like you said, I don't think I'd be able to really tell the difference or appreciate the difference. It'd be wasted on me.
Yeah. It's you've been
Well, and
have you been
the
to
problem-
5A5 by the way, Max, where they hand you the card that
Yeah,
has your
I have,
fucking
yeah.
cow's name and
Yeah.
shit? Yeah, that was weird. Anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead, Adam.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm pretty into that idea that like your cow's name was Reginald. He had 2 children. His
I mean,
children's
that's
name were Denise, and I
that's
just
what
feel
the
like
card says.
good.
It tells you their
Yes.
parents and lineage and like cow size, and when it was
closest thing-
born, and when it was
Um,
killed, and all that shit.
Adam, actually, if it's a cow, it's a she cow. So she had 2 children.
True.
Just lay
That's
down.
true.
That's Montana shit.
I know, I understand.
Steak,
I always
wanted to
steakhouses
go
are
to a
big on
place.
pronouns.
Beefmaster Zeke.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that like, yeah, I think with anything you have to kind of like figure out. This happens in photography all the time where the difference between a $100 lens and an $800 lens is massive, but the difference between a $5,000 lens and a $12,000 lens, you have to know the difference and you have to have shot with both of them enough and like looked at enough photography to be able to be like, there we go. It's like a tiny bit of chromatic
Yeah.
aberration on the $5,000 lens when it's like not really that big of a difference. And I do think that there are communities that build up around any specialized thing where people just get really, really picky about the tiniest shit. And I guess that's fun for some people, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we see that in the
Me,
streaming
not
world.
many
People.
people.
That happens all the
Yeah,
time in the streaming world.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
Like me with audio.
Yeah. Like me with this
Yeah.
thing. I bought this light for no reason except that it's cool. This little light I got.
That's neat.
I got
it emits light.
3 of them.
What do you
Does it
plan
have-
on using it
Does
for?
it have like a mount on it? Is there like a
It's got, if you wanted
3/4
to,
mount on
I'm
there?
gonna put some Velcro.
Where'd you get that light from?
I'm gonna put some Velcro here on the front and then put it above.
Where'd you
me
get that
to
light
help
from, huh?
light green screen. Anyway, see where it's
No,
happening
where'd
right
you get
now.
it from?
It's happening right now.
Yeah,
damn
it
it.
is. Well, like I
Get it
mean,
from
that's
Amazon, man.
that's the difference between like being totally unpracticed at something and then being kind of good at something and then like being a master. The differences between someone who's quite good and someone who is like a perfect master at the thing. Most people won't notice or care.
Except with poutine. Like anyone can make good poutine.
That's right.
It's true.
Literally.
We've
I mean,
covered that
honestly, I've never
earlier.
made
Yeah.
poutine, so I don't know. I maybe it
I'd like
is.
to give it a
Maybe
try.
the fucking Quebecois are talking out their ass, and
What
I'm out
if
here
you-
defending them.
What does McDonald's make poutine in Montreal? Because like I would
They
go
might.
for some poutine
You can get-
with
no, you
McDonald's
can
fries.
get-
That sounds amazing.
You can get McDonald's poutine here, like in Vancouver. It's not.
Oh.
That's a. I think
Oh.
that's just a thing. Yeah,
Oh, is it any
definitely.
good?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've ever looked at a thing of McDonald's fries and been like, I want these to be saltier than they currently are. I've
Mm.
never had that urge, so
Okay.
I don't.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing the usual. I haven't had a chance to play video games really at all. I've just been doing RPG prep stuff, and it's the end of the month, so it's all Far Verona faction turn shit. We're doing a bunch of design stuff for that, so it's been keeping me busy. I am watching season 2 of Sex Education though,
Nice.
which is cool. It's got one of our good buddies, the one of the twins in it,
Yeah.
which is
One of the Butterfield.
it's interesting. I'm only halfway through, but it feels a lot. It feels more contrived than the first season. Like it feels more like a TV show. The first season felt like they were just like trying some stuff out, and the second season they're like, okay, this is going to be kind of our angle on it. I will say, and I've never had this experience before. This is kind of great. It's very unsettling to watch a TV show whose season begins with like a good solid like 20 minutes of someone you've played role-playing games with masturbating.
Right. Yeah.
That was very weird to watch. I was like, this is
Yeah.
okay. Cool, Asa. Whenever you're done with this scene, that'd be great.
It doesn't
Okay, there we
sound-
go. Now the show started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the second time around. Remember?
Yeah.
but
It was a lot.
yeah, no, it's cool. I don't know, every once in a while something will happen on a Netflix show and I'm like, oh yeah, nobody is there to like censor these. Like there's nobody being like,
Yeah.
nope, you can't do that. They're just like, we're Netflix. What are you gonna do? Like you can't stop us. So yeah, it's interesting when occasionally something like that will happen. And it's happened once or twice with that show, but a few of the other Netflix originals where you're just like, oh yeah. Yeah, there's no whatever the governing body in America was that told you what you could or couldn't put on TV, it doesn't exist for the internet. And
Right.
every once in a while, someone on Netflix is like, yeah, I think we're just gonna throw a bunch of dicks around. That's how we're gonna do this episode.
That's true.
Yeah, which I think is pretty great.
Probably
Cool that
what
we have
Europe
this-
feels like
this
all the
new
time.
platform.
You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every time you see a penis, a man's penis on screen on an American TV show, that's what Europeans feel like when they see guns on TV. So
Probably. Yeah.
yeah,
That's probably
pretty different.
probably accurate.
Yeah.
I started watching
Yeah,
West
mostly
Wing
just-
again
just
last
checking it out.
night, by the way. So that's where I'm
Thank
at
you.
right now. Is
Yeah,
the West Wing.
yeah.
Don't
So
do
West
that.
Wing, Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say no more. Basically, after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very much.
he's
Sorkin.
great. But
Yeah.
he's got his thing. I mean, I think that's what happens. You see it with like directors, especially. The longer they work, the more they just repeat themselves, but they refine their practice, right? Where like,
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino's movies, they're not getting better. They're just getting more Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin.
Like he's just more and more of the stuff he wants to do. And then the same with like pretty much everybody that has been doing this a while. Like I heard this a lot about The Irishman, where people are like, "Yep, it's a Scorsese. It's the most Scorsese thing he's ever made." So, yeah. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of cool seeing that. I kind of like that about. I haven't watched it yet. No,
I haven't watched it yet. It's really long. I'd rather watch Lord of the
I don't know
Rings.
if I'm gonna.
It was really good. It was really, really
It was
fucking
good?
good. If you like,
Oh, shit.
if you like mafia movies, it's one of the best one in many years. Like,
Is it? It's like
really
4
good.
hours, right?
Yeah,
3
it's
hours
really
and
long, but it's up there
10
with the
minutes, I think.
classics like Goodfellas and those like the really good series of mafia movies from like the late '90s and early 2000s.
All
yeah,
those other movies.
Yeah.
all those good movies like The Godfather and Goodfellas and
Whatever.
Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch all of the the like Oscar nominated movies now. I guess I started with Marriage
Good way to
Story. I
do
gotta get I still have to watch Joker. We'll have a big episode on Joker here at the Court of Swords pre-show, so look forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. As you can see, the Malays just fall
I'm
over
tempted. Well,
everyone's eyes.
I was thinking about it. I was taking a minute to think like, okay, how do I feel about, let me check in on my feelings about the Joker. Cause like, it's been a while since I saw it. I think I maybe hate it, but I have to watch it again. Like I think
A lot of people
all of
feel
the
same.
thrill of, I think all the thrill of watching it in the theater has faded. And now I just have this weird oily taste in my mouth. So I got to
Yeah.
watch it again and be like, yeah, I definitely hate this. Or like, nope, it's okay. It's not bad.
I mean, Court of
I haven't-
Swords
I'm
has
I'm
said,
lost a little
they've
bit.
set expectations so far for my movies. I don't think 1917 is going to be that good. I think it's going to be just mediocre. I don't really want to get too excited about it. Joker seems pretty
That's the way
bad.
to do it.
JP, have you seen? Here's a movie you can absolutely get excited about, and if you go and you see it and you don't like it, it's because you have no taste and don't like movies.
Okay. All right.
Parasite. You are go see Parasite.
I was at
Oh,
dinner
so good.
at
That was so
Alinea,
good.
and someone was like, "Oh yeah, have you seen Parasite?" And this person, I'm not going to call them out by name, goes, "Yeah, it's not that good." And I was like, "You are the first person who has ever said that movie is bad. Why
God.
is it bad?" And he's like, you know,
You're just saying it to be edgy.
no,
You know,
I don't
just-
think
just
so.
Go against the grain.
I don't think it was their particular wheelhouse. They also didn't like Train to Busan, or what was the other movie that the director did? Was it Train to Busan?
You're talking about the
I mean,
zombie one.
Yeah.
He's done a lot, right? Like Train to Busan. He likes trains because
I
he
saw
did
that recently.
Snowpiercer too.
Oh, that's what it was.
The Host?
Yeah, Snowpiercer. That's what he
He
meant.
did The Host as well. Yeah,
okay.
Snowpiercer. I didn't like Snowpiercer. I don't know if it was a good movie or a bad movie, but there were things about it that turned me off enough that I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna watch this again. But Parasite was fantastic, just from like start to finish. Even if you don't necessarily like his other movies, I definitely went in expecting it to be a different movie than it was, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Okay. All right. Oh, and then I also
It is all
Oh, go ahead.
it's all subtitled though, so maybe the guy didn't like to read, and that
Yeah, or couldn't,
Probably.
because he's obviously a
Or couldn't.
fucking idiot. So
yeah.
Oh man. And then
saying.
the other thing I started rewatching, because obviously I started rewatching Back to the Future. That's a good fucking movie. Let's talk about it. Have you seen Back to the Future recently?
How did you start but not finish Back to the Future? It's like 90 minutes long.
No, it's a trilogy. There's 3 movies, man. You gotta watch. I've watched the first one.
Okay. So you're gonna watch all of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
cool.
already
Okay.
I'm already like 30 or 45 minutes into the second one. Aaron's never. I'm whispering because she probably heard me. Aaron's never seen them, and so I'm just like, "What did you think of that scene?" And she's like, "I mean, it was all right. Like it's okay,
I feel like
but it's so
yeah,
good."
Back to the Future. I feel like Back to the Future is like 1.5 good movies. Like the first one's good, half of the second one is pretty good, and then the third one.
No, the third one's the best one because they just don't give a fuck anymore, Adam. It's so good.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in such a long time that I might have just not liked it as a kid, but I don't know. I remember
the
it
third
being
one in the West.
It's
pretty
the West,
bad.
Yeah, they go back to the West. Yeah.
Oh
They
yeah,
have
I
a
remember that. They don't
time
care at
travel
all.
train.
The thing
Everything's all
that sucks
crazy in the
about
third
the
one.
third one is whenever those Blu-rays came out, I remember I watched the third one, but I fell asleep. And so the movie finished and it went back to the menu. So then I slept for, I don't know, 9 or 10 hours with the fucking song playing on the same like 10-second loop. And I woke up the next morning and I could still, that is just, it's seared into my brain with this fucking
Hey,
awful audio loop. And I hate it.
I have.
It pisses me off.
I just
Adam.
looked. I just looked something up to confirm this. From somebody chat made a claim. I looked up to confirm it. I definitely have to watch Back to the Future Part 3 again because apparently ZZ Top is just in it.
Yep. Yeah, they're
Which
part
is
of the band.
great.
They're part of the band. Yeah, they play. There's a dance and they play in it. They also do the spin.
All right.
They do the stupid ZZ Top spin. That's like in unison. Yep.
Amazing.
I think also the
Amazing.
song that they're playing is the song that I'm referencing. Anyways,
It might be, yeah. Yeah, the song is called Double Back. Yeah. Double ZZ Top. I always preferred CCR myself to ZZ Top, but they're both pretty good.
Yeah.
Cheap Sunglasses fucking rips. That's a great song.
I don't know. I like
I
ELO.
like CCR.
Okay. All right. I see what you're doing. Nice. Nice. NWA is way better than ELO though. So
Yeah, but they can't compare to KMFDM.
What? Seriously? I had to explain to somebody who KMFDM was the other day, and they were like, yeah, that sounds about right. I think they were going to a club or something. I'm like, you're going to listen to a lot of KMFDM if you go to this goth night. And they're like, I don't know who that is. And they came back and they described the music, and I was like, yep, there you go. That's KMFDM.
Not a lot of people know who KMFDM now is nowadays. It's good shit though.
Yeah. When was the last time they released an album? Like 1996? I guess there was sort of a resurgence of that shit in the 2000s, so they might have put out an album more recently.
Damn it, Adam. Now I just want to play KMFDM and play with it on the DJ shit that I got going. That's all I'm thinking about now.
Dude, if you need help putting together a 90s industrial playlist
Yes,
for your
actually,
DJ
I would
stream,
love that. I would
have
absolutely
got you
love
covered.
that.
God.
On a serious
Yes.
note, I would absolutely love. I'm sourcing all good music from people just so that way I can.
Oh, yeah,
better,
dude.
Have a collection. Because a lot of this stuff I know. God, we're running so long on this pre-show. A lot of this stuff I know, but I just can't. I don't have it organized in my brain to have a list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll get you some Skinny Puppy up in there.
I would love that.
A little
Yeah.
9 Inch Nail remix. Yeah. All right, dude.
Skinny Puppy. Weren't they in the? I think I might have heard them in the Tony Hawk games. They might have been in
Yes.
those games.
Yeah. They definitely have a song in one of the, maybe in like one of the undergrounds or something. But
Yeah.
they're from Vancouver. That's the only reason I know them.
They're from the
Never
Couve.
really listened to them, but
Yeah.
that's right. They actually were the ones that gave the Couve its name.
Yeah.
Yeah, them and Al Jorgensen.
Let's keep it going.
Full circle.
Here's what we'll do, Adam. We'll have a night where I do a DJ stream, and you're just gonna source me a bunch of playlists of what you'd like to hear. And I'll be like, fuck yeah, all right.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's,
go pick my
that's
favorites,
a
and I'm
weird
just gonna
stream.
make a little set.
Adam's just gonna pick obscure. He's gonna start throwing out like war
I'm with it. I'm okay with
and
it.
some tools.
Actually,
It's all practice
is the
for
thing that
me.
this is the thing I only learned recently. I think Max and I have pretty similar taste in music, at least in that subset of music. Like if it's
For sure,
electronic
yeah.
music, I think Max and I have a pretty good overlap on that one.
Mm-hmm. I
You
like
know
to
what
think I
song
have
I
pretty
like,
decent
though?
taste with music.
You know that song I like?
I know exactly what you're about to say. Please tell us, JP.
What
The
is it?
song that doesn't really stick around that long. You know, it's
Don't do it. I don't want to hear it. No. If you play temporary secretary, I will permanently leave the show.
So
Oh, my
after
God.
you shit posted about that on Twitter the other day, that song, I was walking home from the bar and I'd had a couple of beers and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna spend the entire walk home. It was like a 20-minute walk listening to remixes of Temporary Secretary.
That's
I found
a
a
bad
couple of good
idea.
ones. Mostly though, they are terrible. Yeah, really, really bad. Yeah.
Is there? Nice. We're gonna get claimed. We're gonna get claimed.
He just said temporary.
We're
It's
gonna get
fine.
claimed. We're out of here. It almost took over Dan's soul.
Dan, you moved
Actually,
like,
you
so
reminded me of
fast.
that
It was like
song-
you put
that
your
remix,
hand on
though.
the stove. Like you're just like that was the back of your brain doing that. Like, go get him
Yeah.
off.
Is
The
there?
remix is actually pretty good.
I feel like songs have made it when like there's a Fortnite or Kids remake of a song. Is there a Fortnite / Kids remake of Temporary Secretary?
No,
If
almost
so,
yet
that-
there isn't.
Man,
My
that's
kids
like
were listening
the
to Kid
worst.
Bops.
That's got to be the worst.
Yeah.
Anyways, we should probably play some D&D. I think this
Should we?
recap is
I
going to
guess.
load. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to
Okay.
press this button and we'll just see.
Yeah, let's find out.
Nope.
Previously,
There it
on
is.
Court of Swords. Discussing their strategy, the party realizes they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Bahath and the Embers are no match for their necromantic neighbors, but with Bahath in charge, they're going to need a plan with a little bit of action to succeed. They decide to try and seek out Southern Wind, a captain of the Court of Swords army, and a man who Grave Dirt wanted dead. That means he might make a decent ally if they can find him and get him to sing their tune. Maharib and Ramus make sure that Aoud isn't going to self-destruct while they're away. Berg spends one last night with Vani for now, and 10 Pillars learns that Ramus lied about his mission. The Court of Coins will be expecting him home. In a surprisingly disloyal turn, 10 Pillars doesn't seem to care. What matters now is this: saving the Embers and stopping the Mara. The first step? Allies who can actually fight. Time to find Southern Wind and see what's left of the legendary priest army of the Court of Swords.
No, don't start everything is just fucked on this show. Jesus. What is happening? Let's just listen to Temperate. Max, bring it back. 24 hours.
We're cursed. We're cursed. It's a gremlin day.
Oh, God.
Yeah. All right, friends. So let's double check with goals, because Berg, you are missing one, but I think everybody else is good on theirs. Ramus, check in on your ghouls.
Yeah.
So Ramus, locate Southern Wind, find other worshippers of the primordials, and convince Maharib that harmony is the future.
Yep. That is correct.
Cool. All right. And then Maharib, understand the power behind the axe. Guide the group through the mountains. Locate Southern Wind.
I think that's correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are correct.
And then 10 Pillars. I have locate Southern Wind, convince Southern Wind to join the cause, and then return to the fortress.
No. And this is important because it's language. Just in case Southern Wind is fucking dead. I said the Court of Swords cadre. So convince them to join us and find them and then convince them to join us, whoever's left.
Yeah. And locating Southern Wind's corpse does include locating Southern Wind for everybody for that goal. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then convincing the remnant to join the cause. That's good. That does presume there is one, but I think that's probably fairly reasonable to assume. Berg, I have for you locate Southern Wind, keep Vani safe, and then what do you want for your third one?
Yeah, we always get to this point, don't we?
I really do love our time together, Max. It's very valuable to me.
I honestly it really is a symptom of playing Berg for so long. And the more we get into like the deeper campaign, I know I've kind of talked about it, and it's going to sound a lot like an excuse. I don't like goals anyways. I just prefer to just go in, but it's hard for me to think of goals for Bergs a lot of time because he's very much a tool kind of character. He doesn't have complex higher thoughts and like long-term things. And I know that's not necessarily an excuse because you can have player goals and then sort of word it that way. But
well, I mean, different systems,
it would be easier.
Yeah, different systems work better or worse for different players. Like that's not. It just happens that this is the one we've kind of settled on this. But yeah, okay. So Berg, you can write something about, or just straight up borrow somebody else's goal, right? So like, convince the remnant to join the cause, or find out how the Court of Swords treats orcs, right? Like, because maybe Southern Wind is a real dirtbag and no one else would notice. Like, Ramus, Maharib, and 10 Pillars probably wouldn't bat an eye if they met Southern Wind and Southern Wind was like, "Hi, I'm Southern Wind. These are the orcs that do whatever I tell them to." That might be a thing that Berg is interested in.
That's actually a pretty good goal. Let's do that. I'm going to steal that.
You want to do that one?
That sounds great.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's not stealing.
And that how Southern Wind,
David,
however you want to phrase it. It's a good one.
Okay.
And sometimes I do just draw a blank. I really am not the best goal writer, which sucks because that's
okay.
Experience.
Yeah, and that's why I'm willing to help. That's why we do it together. Okay, find out how the remnant cadre treats orcs. Okay, cool. All right. So when last we saw our group, you were heading out from the fortress of the Embers of Imix. You had your stuff. You got some gear with you. We figured out some amount of money to bring along. I assume the rest is being left at the fortress. And I know that me asking this is going to make everybody super suspicious and I'm going to fuck with your money, but I just want to know what's happening. So
and that's on 10 Pillars. He was the one that got
10 Pillars. How much did you decide to bring with you versus like leave behind, and what did you do when you left it behind?
I'm bringing 250 gold, and then I'm leaving the 10K behind.
Okay. And do you just leave it in a chest in your room, or?
I'm sure I would look for better places to put it. Maybe I ask Vonnie if she would put the chest in her room and ask, Berg or Maharib to help me carry it.
Yeah, Berg can lift it by himself. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Are you sure though? Because
All
it's
right.
not really that. It's not that it's heavy. It's just really awkward. So if you could just come over and help me move this.
I took all my money and I put it in my couch. Now I need you to lift my couch, please. Okay. All right. So Vonnie, you entrusted your cash to Vonnie to look at. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. All right. So I guess this is the question. What tools are you going to use, or what methods to discover the location of Southern Wind and his hidden rebel cadre? They're not really rebels, they're loyalists, I guess. Technically the Mara are the rebels here. But how are you going to find them? What's the plan? Who's in charge of this operation, and how do you discover them? They're in the mountains somewhere.
Do we know he's a dwarf? Or did you just say he was a dwarf and that's where I know he's a dwarf?
No, he's not a dwarf. They were trying, the last we heard of him, the last sort of clue you had was that he is trying to recruit dwarves in the mountains to help fight. We never found out if that was happening or.
Well, I guess Maharib would think that maybe we could just have Ramus locate him, because didn't Ramus do that for someone else, or is that something else?
I mean, you could have that conversation with Ramus if you're just walking along and be like, Ramus, find this guy for me.
Well, I'm trying to think back, did you do that for a person or was that for a thing, Ramus?
I can do both, but there are range limits, and I have to be relatively close, within 1,000 feet ish or so.
How often?
So if we get near, I could pinpoint where he is, but we have to get near first.
Cut forward to meeting Southern Wind, and he's like, "Hello, I'm Southern Wind," and Ramus is like, "There he is."
Yep, found him. That right there.
There he is. I see him.
Well, I've been up and down the mountains at least 4 or 5 times. Did I see any other? Can I make a roll to see if I remember any other signs of life besides the Embers place?
Yeah. It's just a question of what skill applies here, because it's not nature.
Right.
I guess it's sort of like survival, in the sense that you're remembering something you might have already encountered
or found along the trail. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not history, because history is just book knowledge.
So it would be perception if it was real time, but remembering.
Yeah,
it,
if you were actively searching. Yeah, see, that's the thing. There isn't really a skill for remembering. And even then, it's I guess. Okay, here's what we'll do. Let's make what's your passive perception?
14.
Okay. All right. So how about this? You can make a perception roll now, but since you weren't actively searching, the best you can do is 14.
Wait, what was the last part of that?
Let's just
make a perception.
So
what? The highest I can.
Oh, your results will cap at 14, because that's what was passively going on when you were walking around in the woods or in the hills anyway. Right?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, there's a 14 then.
Okay, all right. So you got your 14. You did as best. You're searching your previous memories for clues. I don't think the road that you've traveled, really, the only times you've been up here, I don't think that it had any clear. There's no path, right?
Right.
And that's on purpose.
I wouldn't expect there to be,
yeah. So you would have been traveling a route that really only Maharib has traveled, right? And you would use out of habit probably the same path back and forth. So nothing along that path indicates to you the passage of any number of soldiers, it's climbing up through rocks and all that. But there are dwarven ruins in these mountains, right? There is a dwarven road that runs in places through the mountains up north to a pass that may or may not be collapsed now. Most of the dwarves have tunnels connecting their various strongholds. So there are some above ground kind of dwarven waypoints, but there's no clear idea from what you've seen. There's no clear idea of like a network or where you would begin to look.
Let me ask you.
You've seen no clear evidence of that.
Let me ask you a different question, which you might not be able to answer because I've already rolled. Working as a, for some reason, my brain keeps going to marauder, but that's not what the word is. What's the
Mercenary?
word? Mercenary. Thank you.
Mercenary is the word you're looking for. Yeah, but I mean, you are also the other one. Yeah.
Right. Working as a mercenary, I've probably been around armies and troops and whatnot. In the area that I did travel, would it make sense for anywhere to put an army or to place an army within these hills or within these mountains?
So you're doing the like, if I were him, where would I go?
Right.
Right.
Is that an intelligence check?
I think that's a totally different thing. That's an investigation check, maybe, because you're looking at available information and trying to draw a conclusion from that information. Yeah, where is a suitable place?
Okay.
Survival could also work here if you don't want to roll investigation, but either of them are with intelligence.
Well, survival, I have a check-in, so I guess I'll roll that. But how do I roll survival with intelligence?
So you normally for ease of use, the character sheet just defaults to whatever D&D assigns as the default value of a skill.
Yeah.
Right. So it'll always roll for now. If you want to change that, I think you can go to the gear, and somewhere in the gear you can choose to have it prompt you for what ability you want to roll, like somewhere on that page. Yeah, where it says normal, somewhere in there. But for now, just roll it, and we'll adjust the math on our own, because
so just roll.
You don't want it for every time. Yeah, just roll a d20, and then we'll add the proficiency and the wisdom bonus.
Well, I rolled a 1, Adam. So
you got no goddamn idea. Building like mountain camps wasn't really your thing. You came down out of the mountain like a bloody-minded Zarathustra. You didn't really spend a lot of time fighting in them. So this terrain is altogether unfamiliar to you in this context, I think.
Well, I think Maharib's under the idea that the group is looking to him to help guide them to this. So the three of you see Maharib like lean over and grab some grass and just put it up in the air. And I let go of the blades of grass and see which way it falls. And then I start going that way. And I rolled a 1. So that's why I'm doing this. It's not.
Yeah. I mean,
just do this normally.
So that's the other thing. Like if you don't know where to begin, your only real option is like, well, let's just search. Like, and that's going to take without something to put you in the right direction. Who knows how long it could take.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, if Maharib is willing to set out aimlessly, that's fine. But eventually at Ramus, Berg, and 10 Pillars, you'll probably come to the conclusion that, you're not necessarily on the trail. It's just a question of how long that takes. So Maharib, is your hope just to be like, I'm going to pick a random direction until we figure out where to go?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I think that would be a conversation. Like, I would ask Maharib if he feels confident that he knows where they would hole up and stuff like that. And if we hadn't left yet, like we hadn't gone too far yet, I definitely I think with enough like an overnight stay or whatever, before we set out, I think it would be feasible that I would go to the archives of the Dwarven place and try and find a map of our current location and surrounding areas.
The Dwarven archives, like the archive hall, is still full of monsters.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You haven't. No, yeah, you uncovered the vault,
okay.
But there's still, it's still unclaimed subterranean territory.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah. It's funny because there there are two different sources of significant like wisdom within reach, but they're both just out of reach. One of them is surrounded by zombies, and the other is a dwarven ruin. Also, these dwarves abandoned this hall like long enough ago that Southern Wind wasn't even born, let alone this fight started. So you could get a map of the area, but that'd be about it.
No, just a topographical map that you could see. Like this is a place where you could defensible position. Blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Since we don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, we have a resource we can use, and I think it's something that would be not too taxing on the person that we ask. I bet the Dragon Rider may have already spotted them. They know where they are. And it's just a simple question. So I don't think that it would be against helping us in that fashion.
She did say she wanted to be told if anything interesting came up. I think a fire dragon god is kind of interesting.
That's between the two of you. I know this direction. I know that's the place. So if you want to ask her, by all means, we can wait.
What divination magic is that you just did, Mahari, with the grass? Never seen that before.
What do you mean, Ramus? Divination magic? I simply entrusted in the primordials to take me to the place where we will find the dwarf.
What?
Even Berg can tell you're lying.
I have no idea where we're going. I'm sorry. It'd be best to ask the dragon. Yes.
Berg, I'm not very good with instruments. Could you can play this little flute thing, right?
You know how to whistle, don't you, Berg?
I was waiting for it.
You asking him to play a flute thing?
We used to play a flute all the time back in the day.
Yeah, you've played little,
I know.
instrument stuff.
Perhaps I'm forgetting where this flute thing came from. And this, is this to signal the?
Yeah, the dragon.
Yeah, dragon
right.
lady.
Okay, yeah, got the context.
I played the lute strings, not blowing into pipe thing.
Oh, that is kind of a
I
different
can
skill
try.
set.
I don't
Any
know
of you
if
have-
it will work.
Any of you have familiarity with wind instruments?
No.
10 Pillars grabs that thing. I had to do it. It's a fucking flute to summon a dragon. Come on.
It's a dragon summoning flute. It isn't actually a dragon summoning flute, but yes, it's the fantasy equivalent of a panic whistle. But yeah, I mean, she didn't say like play the song of summoning and I will arrive. It was just like, here, take this, blow it real hard.
Does it have a
if you
bunch
need
of
my
holes?
attention. No, it doesn't. It just has a hole on both ends, and you just blow into
Does
it.
it sound like?
I grab it. If they let me grab it, I'll take
Shrill
it
noise. Yep.
and just blow into it as hard as I can.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So there's a shrill note that echoes from the flute, emits from the flute. Yeah, perfect. Good.
Oh, good lord!
And you're all run over by a train at the end. So yeah, this high pitched noise comes from the end of the flute, blows out over and echoes through the mountains, and somewhere in the distance, far away, kind of echoing from the jungle, you hear somewhere between a roar and a shriek, at a very vast distance, as if in answer to the sound. What are you gonna do?
I guess I make a perception check to see if that's matches the sound of the dragon we heard.
Just some other dragon that heard that shit. Oh, let's go eat.
Yeah. It's just somebody in the jungle being like, "Shut up!" So I'm trying to sleep over here. Some people are trying to bang their wives. All right, go ahead and make a nature check, Ramus. You recognize the sound of
Can I help
animal.
him? On the,
14.
It would have mattered.
I mean, you can. Yeah, it's only gonna make the difference of 1 here. So 15. It sounds draconic. Like if you heard it elsewhere, you might think like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds kind of dragony. Yeah. It's not like a low growling roar. It's like sort of high pitched and like piercing. Yeah, I think it's reasonable for you to make that assumption.
You want me to pitch down the train whistle?
I think I heard it. I'm not sure. It's kind of far.
What did she say when she gave this to you? To wait?
To blow it, and she might stop by if she felt like it. She didn't. She was kind of cold, standoffish, but and she said, "Just blow this," and she would show up. Maybe.
Well, how long do we wait?
Maybe.
I don't know. Didn't really give instructions.
Should we go start looking and you stay here?
Your dragon will be arriving in 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 18 minutes. Oh, what the hell?
I'll just give her like 10 minutes or so to fly over here and then go from there.
How far is she? Do we know?
Wellberg, if we can hear it, can't be that far away.
All right. I guess let's wait.
Yeah, we just
Okay.
chill and wait for a
You're just
little
gonna
bit.
hang out.
Yeah, the four
Okay,
of us
so
are
you're
just standing
still-
on a mountainside looking out.
Well, I mean, you didn't even really like leave, right? Like you're just hanging out outside the fortress.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, some time passes, maybe an hour. No sign of anybody.
What the
Another
shit?
hour goes by. Maharib, it starts to occur to you that like if you want to get any travel in today, probably have to set out.
Well, that would have occurred 10
Oh.
minutes in. I think I would have like put a stop to it. 10
you
minutes in.
don't even let it go an hour. You're just like, okay.
Yeah, like 10 minutes passes. Ramus, how long are we waiting? We're losing travel time.
Well,
Well,
if I may,
yes.
it's not like we can blow the whistle again on our way.
I mean, that makes sense. We just don't know where we're going, is all. So, I have no idea where an army would hide in this forest.
Did not Graveyard didn't give you directions?
No. She just said to the
Very
north.
vague directions.
I believe
Yeah,
it was just
they're
a
in the
direction.
mountains.
A direction, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're in the mountains. They're trying to recruit some dwarves to fight me. Go and kill them for me. Go and prove your loyalty.
Well,
Can I make a history
I can
check
get-
since I lived in this region, like where dwarves like gathered, like hill dwarves in the area, like they had villages nearby or something?
Mhm.
18.
Okay. So yeah, you grew up near the monastery. And when you were a kid, I think probably there were a lot more dwarves than there are now around. They seem to kind of just have been slowly disappearing. And we've talked about before a long time ago about the difference between like mountain dwarves and hill dwarves and how humans can't really tell the difference and they might just be one people and we just call them mountain dwarves because they're the ones that are further away than the closer ones that we call hill dwarves. So you're not really sure. You got a human education about dwarves, and they've always been a bit like standoffish in the first place. But there's supposed to be there was supposed to be some kind of like dwarven outpost in an area to the west and south of the monastery. You knew about it, I think, probably because of dwarves like visiting to do like trade with the monastery. So they would come north to do that and then go back, and they'd bring you building materials like special stone, or they would trade gems or gold that they discovered in the mountains. In exchange,
Yeah, I think that's
for,
why
the
I know
products of the
Dwarvish,
monastery.
because they had
Yeah.
us like load up the carts and stuff, and we had to learn Dwarvish to interact with them and speak with them
Yeah.
at the monastery. And they would all
Yeah,
and
totally makes
dwarves
sense,
love
yeah.
to talk about stuff, and we picked up stories and things.
Yeah, right. Because these would have been the most sort of outgoing. These are the most hill dwarves of the dwarves, so they're willing to come into contact with humans. Yeah, there is there's like a settlement that you know about that is southwest of here somewhere, but you've never been there. But it's at least sort of a direction.
Well, if she was right about them recruiting dwarves, I know that somewhere southwest of the monastery in that area of the hills, dwarves are there somewhere. We could start heading that way and see if we run into any old trails or tracks or structures. At least a place to start.
Look, I agree. I am tired of doing nothing.
What happens if we run into her forces?
Gravedirt?
I would assume they're going to be out in some capacity.
Talk to them. If that
Oh.
will work, kill them.
Fair
Yeah, we're
enough.
technically not enemies yet, so we could just lie.
Works for me. Do I know the general area that he's talking about, Adam?
I mean, yeah, if you just go in that direction, there's no roads, so you're gonna have to kind of like
Yeah, traverse,
climb
yeah.
and descend and traverse like
You
it's
know,
wilderness, right? So
A great movie once told me, but where we're going, we don't need roads, Adam.
It is true. I can't confirm.
yeah. So at this point, KU and her magic dragon DeLorean, they fly in and they say, "Maharib, it's your kids," and then we all fly off. So
We'll see you
It's your
next week
kids.
for Back to the Court of Swords 2. We're out.
Court of the future.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I've said this before, I feel like you can really tell your D&D game has kind of taken like a weird turn when it ends up with time travel. Like almost every D&D campaign flirts with time travel at some point. Take a step back from the time travel. Don't do it. It's not a good idea, kids. So, yeah, okay. You like that at least gives you a direction, right? And the grass, the floating blades of mountain grass didn't get you anywhere. So if you go south from here and stay in the mountains, maybe you'll find what you're looking for.
All right. I start marching that way with the group. Do I need to make a survival check to see how the march goes, or?
Yeah, it's less a march and more a
Hiking?
like just keeping everybody from like getting in danger, or keeping the pace and picking the right path, right? So
Yep.
you come to a wall and it's like, all right, we can either try to climb it or we can, so it's about picking the right thing rather than like force marching.
Yeah.
So we'll make a survival check for each sort of day that you're searching. And I will track your progress that way. So let's see. So day 1, you head south. You actually have a direction now. Go ahead and make a survival.
Okay. 18.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So you begin your trek south. You'll be happy to know, Berg, that this journey does not exhaust you. The weather is pretty good. It's hot. Ramus, because you live in this area, the summer, the season of fire will be coming to an end soon, which means that in the Court of Swords, it's going to be rainy. It's going to be rainy as hell. Now, you're far enough in from the coast. You're not going to get like monsoons, but there will definitely be flooding. The rivers will become engorged with water, and it'll make shit pretty rough. But you've still got, this is when it's nice, where the heat is starting to die away, and there are a few hours every day where it's actually kind of cool, and it hasn't started raining yet. So it's a pretty good time of year to be traveling through the mountains. And I think that when night falls and the sounds of jungle animals, the nocturnal animals of the jungle start coming to life, and the moon rises up in the sky, bright and silver. It's a nice cloudless night. It is almost possible to forget that you are in the middle of a terrible war zone. Like there is a moment of quiet here where you're just surrounded by the stark beauty of the mountains. And I don't know, you're setting up camp. So like, what's everybody doing? Like Maharib, I assume Maharib is just like, we're done. The day is over. Everyone sit. Like resting time is now. You have 6 hours.
Yeah,
right? Like I imagine you come to a place.
That's usual, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Maharib's to some degree like kind of a drill instructor, right? Like you had to command soldiers at a point. So yeah, so you stop and everybody starts getting their stuff out. But what does everybody do when they start making camp? 10 Pillars, you're used to this stuff alone. Now you're traveling with, 3 other people. You're out in the wild. What's everybody doing?
Well, I gotta say, I think I speculate on the location of Southern Wind. I also think about and talk with the others about how Southern Wind treats his orcs, and then I also ask Ramus to send a message to Vonnie to be like, "Hey, are you good? Are you safe?
Hey, are you okay? Nice. Yeah, just
that's
get
what
all
I
your
do.
goals.
You up?
Get them all worked on right away."
up,
I mean, we joke about that, but all of those are acceptable like things to do during your downtime.
137 episode, Max. Learned how to play,
I mean,
Yeah, well,
to be
let's
fair, it's
not
only
go
like
too
80
far.
episodes.
Let's not go too far.
Yeah, so like, see somebody lighting a fire, like you're not being pursued. You don't have to like hide necessarily.
No,
I mean, the
I'm
mountains
setting
are
up camp.
dangerous. The mountains are dangerous because they're wild, and you are actually close to like people who want to exterminate you. So, I don't know. I don't know if we know what Grave Dirt is thinking right now. She's just like, where are those guys? But you're not being pursued.
She may not.
The world
care
does not
about
have
us
its
enough.
hands around your
You know what I
throat.
mean? Part of her
Maybe.
her ego and self-importance might be her failing in terms of like, well, then I don't see them again, then they weren't important, kind of deal. Because she is very much.
Yeah, maybe we don't really know what's going on with her.
Since
She's
we're
a
resting
weirdo,
for the
you know
night,
what I mean?
since we're resting for the night and we're going to be here for a handful of hours, this might be the best time to blow the whistle again, just in case it takes the Dragon Rider a fair bit to get to us. We'll be in one location. My only concern is that this call isn't relegated to just her.
We should wait till tomorrow. when
Other
we're
people
leaving.
might hear it. I'm not sure if it's magical in nature.
I think for that very reason, we should wait till we leave. The dragon can pick up our scent if she flies to our location.
I don't know how dragons
Yes.
work. I didn't know if they could do that.
Big noses must have good smell.
That's my thinking too, Berg.
I think
Very
it's
well.
good thinking.
All right.
Remus, just a question for you.
Yes.
You didn't bring any books with you, did you?
I do have one, but it's just one that I'm working on. I don't know if you'd like it. Stories and notes.
Oh, I think I'd like it very much.
There
Oh,
and
if you-
back again. A sociopath's tale.
It's just that I've read this one that I have. You might have seen me reading it before. I've at least a half dozen times or more, and it's starting to lose its panache, so to speak.
I just realized what book you're talking about.
Yeah.
What book do you have?
No, okay, just precursor in case anyone doesn't know. When Adam made this character and gave it to me as like an interim character, one of the items in my inventory was a smutty romance novel.
Yep.
So
the
I've
lusty
had that with
Argonian.
me the whole time.
You've had it the whole time, and you've mentioned reading it several times too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's not a lot to do on the
Yeah.
road, you know? It's like, fuck.
It's wartime.
Like-
You can't always pick what your entertainment is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe we could work out a trade.
Well, you're more than welcome to read. Only the first few chapters are really solid. The rest are notes and unfinished thoughts. But you want to read the first few chapters, it's fine with me.
Thank you very much. I would love that. Delve into the mind of Remus Krill. At the very least, it'll be entertaining.
It's actually good for me too. It's good to know what other people think of the work I'm working on. Here.
I take it. I set up my little bed place. Just kind of like, unless somebody hasn't made a fire, I'll help with that. And then
I think I'm in
I'll
the
just kinda-
process of it. As I see you like
Sure.
making up your bed, 10 pillars, would you mind staying up there? I just kind of like point up in the general direction of the trees.
What do you mean?
Well, it's in the past, I've always had the people like yourself stay in the trees. They can spot things easier.
Of course. I'd be honored. And I won't even ask what you mean by people like me.
Good. Just go back
You-
to continue lighting the fire.
I'll try and find like a place to like set up so I can actually like sit comfortably if there's like a crook in a tree or something.
Yeah, there's not a lot of trees up here. Like this is like
No trees
mountains.
at all?
So
So
there's
we're just mountain area?
there's like scrub brush, maybe some like old gnarly trees, but yeah, nothing in terms of like tree cover or anything. Yeah.
Oh. Well, then maybe that conversation. I thought we were in the forest already. I don't think any of that conversation happens then.
I mean, you're not actually going to go into the forest at all.
Oh, we're just staying in the. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that conversation probably didn't
So
happen.
I start making up my bed, see if I can help with the fire, and that's my thing.
All right. And then Ramus, what are you doing?
I think I'm just like sitting and just staring out at the moon and the horizon and just like taking a few minutes to just relax for once. It's been such a
Yeah.
long, perilous journey. Just having a few minutes to just sit and look is peaceful.
Yeah, just appreciating the relative quiet amidst the chaos. Okay. Yeah, I dig it. Do you read any of 10 Pillars' book?
I look at it and I realize I've read this one before and it's not very good. The sequel is much better. So I just toss it into my bag.
Right, City of Ass 2 is way better than City of Ass 1.
They really developed the characters better in the second one. It's more believable.
And then the primordial Maru Bhavati exploded, throwing the city into the air. Yeah, good. Perfect.
I see you know
Okay,
He
my
made
works.
his way
I will,
to the court of horrors.
I will post more of them in the forums. Don't worry, everyone.
There you go.
Fantastic.
We
Yeah.
need a writer's name though for that, Max. Who's the writer of that?
Shadrach.
Workshop it. Oh, it's Shadrach. Shadrach is the writer. Okay, perfect. That's great. Shadrach went on to write smut novels after his people were
There
threatened.
you go. Yeah,
Shagdrick.
love it.
Yeah, no, that's his writer's name is Shagdrick.
It's Shag Dick. Thank you. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So, Remus, you get a moment to sort of appreciate the calm. Maharib, you set up the camp. 10 Pillars, you give him a hand, and yeah, the moon continues to rise in the sky. Gets colder, but never really cold, even up this high. And yeah, everybody make a note of whatever it is that you're eating and drinking for the evening. And then I assume you take like watch.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say we would have restocked on rations before we left? We didn't really make note of it, but
I can
I'll be
make
honest.
us food and water
Oh,
every day if
okay,
I
then
need it.
let's
Very
do that.
rarely at this point.
Not
pay
very,
attention to
not tasty,
rations.
but it'll get you going.
That's fine.
Well, I mean, Berg, for you have an ability that lets you like scavenge food, right?
That's
Like, you
usually
can
how I
send,
get it,
like,
right?
for
Yeah.
That's
if it's
that's
available.
why I don't really pay attention to it because I
So do you
usually
do
feel
that, Bert?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do that.
you go find food for people. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Berg brings back some food, maybe some like mountain like root vegetables and
Starts playing
rabbits
EDM
or
as he
something.
puts it on a plate.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's great.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's no problem. And you rest, and I think the next day the sun comes up. What are you gonna do? Continue as is?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Oh,
that-
well,
I-
before
right.
we go, we blow the whistle. Yeah.
I blow the whistle. God damn it.
I've just got
Sorry.
Captain Jack blow my whistle, baby, in my song, or in my head. So, yeah.
Just say when.
The whistle was blown
you like to blow
by
it?
Ramus Krill. That
Blow
was.
it.
And ready?
Perfect.
I really hope the dragon just goes chugga 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 chugga.
And then when it goes
Yeah.
choo choo, the steam comes out of its nose.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Drain.
Yeah. All right. Am I
okay,
making my
so-
survival check?
Yeah. Make that survival check again for day 2.
All right. 17.
Hey, not bad. Okay.
Also,
All right.
are we all starting with inspiration before we get too far in the episode?
Oh yes, yeah. At the beginning of the episode, everybody starts with inspiration.
Okay. Mark it if you don't have it.
Yeah, if you don't already have it. Okay. All right. So you continue south, and this part of the mountains becomes more difficult to traverse. The peaks become higher. The amount of time in which you're not going either up a slope or down one becomes next to nil. And you continue along. And as you're navigating, as you're moving through the mountains, you discover. And I don't know, Mahari, maybe you're ahead of everybody else, like scouting out if you need to do a thing. But somebody discovers bones. You find a scattering of bones, just kind of like laying out bits of torn fabric. You notice it, and like tufts of either fur or hair, and you notice it sort of scattered in front of you in a relatively like a little flat area. What are you gonna do? Gonna investigate it any closer, or just be like, cool, gross, we avoid it?
How far are we,
Well,
like, near or far away from it, or
Yeah, you can just go up and take a look at it. Sure.
Yeah, I would definitely investigate it to see if who it belongs to, where it came from, what happened, all that kind of stuff.
I
Make
want
an
to like check if they're
investigation check.
human bones or animal
Yeah,
bones?
let's have 10 pillars do an investigation. Ramus do a nature check, because Ramus is like, what sort of bones are these? And you're like, what happened here?
Wow.
My God, 10 pillars.
Well, here's the thing though. That's one of my skills though. Like it sucks, but like I rolled 2 1s. How do you want to play that? Because I can add the lowest I can roll is 10 for my skill thing.
Yeah. Rolling a 1 doesn't have any like special overriding effects. Yeah. No,
Okay.
you're good.
So it'd be 24 is the lowest I can roll on that.
Nice. You're very investigatory. Okay. All right.
Jesus.
And then Ramus, you got a 9. Okay, so Ramus, you with a 9, you can't tell. I will say this though. You
What the
would
fuck
be the
happened
thing
when
that-
I was you rolled double ones? What the fuck?
yeah, he did. Didn't matter though.
Yeah.
Because he
Okay.
can't roll bad in that.
Oh,
So, Ramus,
Yep.
I will say this: scattered amidst the bones, you find a couple of teeth, whether they're human teeth or they're like molars, like a couple of them. You find them in the amidst the rubble. 10 pillars. This doesn't look like there was violence and then these people died and then like dissolved. There's bones from at least 4, maybe 5 bodies. Hard to say what kind of bodies they were, but you see, part of a You see what Ramus saw. You see some teeth and stuff. You also find some blood-stained cloth that has been like torn. And you find a what originally you thought was maybe fur is coarse curly hair. And there's like chunks of it as if it was like ripped out of someone's scalp. So there's little chunks of it kind of like laying around, and all of the bones have teeth marks on them, big, enormous teeth marks. And a lot of them are broken. And the ones that are broken, the bigger bones that are broken, the marrow has been like sucked out of them.
We need a Witcher.
So hold on. So the bones have been crushed by a very large mouth.
I mean, not all crushed necessarily. Some of them are broken in half. Yeah,
that's what I meant. Like they're snapped or broken or whatever by what I
and they
would
have like big
large
teeth marks on them. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any footprints around?
I mean, there are, but they're all overlapping and stuff. It's a survival check if you want to try to track them, where they came from.
I'm not. I don't want to track them. I just want to know if they're human or they're big. Like,
there
whatever.
are footprints, but they're too there's tracks, but they're too overlapped to be able to tell what kind or whatever. I will say this: they're heavier. There are no boot prints. No human or otherwise sized boot prints here. No footprints either. The ground here is quite rocky. So it's not like you're tracking through mud, but yeah, there are scrapes on some of the rocks that you could maybe assume are like toe claws.
Okay.
I would like to make a survival check to see like what direction they went, or if
Okay, so make that survival check. Does somebody want to help, Ramus?
Yeah, I can help him. I got 3.
Yeah, so Maharib, you've noticed at this point that the 3 of them stop. You're a little ways away and you're up on you've climbed up a little hill, and you turn around and you're like, guys, and they're still down and they're looking at something they've noticed. They're maybe, like 30 or 40 yards away. You can spot them down there messing around.
Still
but yeah,
daytime?
Bergen. Yes, still daytime.
Okay. Then I just kind of go on watch while they're doing this.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, so Ramus and Berg, you take a look around trying to see if there's like a trail or some tracks or something. Yes. Okay, so 2 with a 14, 2 very large barefooted creatures dragged what looks like a bag or a net or something. They dragged it here from the northwest, and they dragged it here and then stopped. And then the tracks go south, pretty much the same direction you're going. But there's the 2 big tracks, and then there is a third person being dragged, and they are either a human or someone like it, because there's 2 like deepish like heel prints. So I'll do a quick just like illustration here. So if you guys are moving this way through the mountains, right? You're coming down that direction. You intersect with the path here. So you're here, right? So wherever these things came from, they came from up here, and then they went this way, the same direction you're going. And there's just mountains everywhere. That's what
Ramus,
that's what you figure
we
out.
should exercise caution.
I think we're onto them. I thought they could get away from us, but we're catching up. Maharib, possibly giants in that direction that we're traveling.
How would I react
not
to
gi-
that? Hold on.
Ogres.
Oh, okay. Because giants is definitely a bigger. Giants is like a what the fuck?
A lot of people make that mistake. Yep. True giants with a capital G, giants, they're extinct. But there are still species that have like a distant relation to them, like Goliaths, but also like frost giants and storm giants and stuff. But yeah, what Ramus means is big monsters.
Okay, can I see their footprints from where I'm at, or am I too far away? I'm like 30 feet off, right?
The tracks, you don't see them from up here. But you're also high up, so if you want to like look around, see what your Goliath eyes see.
Yeah, I mean,
This might sound kind of gross, but like droppings, scat anywhere?
Poops. No,
Yeah.
it looks like they ate here, and if you follow the tracks, they
Okay.
probably pooped 4 hours down the line that way.
Okay. Okay.
you want me to make a perception check, Adam, to see what I see from up
Yeah,
here?
yeah, go for it.
15.
Okay. Let's see. How far off? If you look ahead, and we kind of get the like you peering. We don't see giants anywhere, but up ahead, maybe 100 yards or so, you squint. You see what you first thought was just like a dead tree, and it is a dead tree, but it looks like it's been pushed over, right? That it's been broken. You can see its roots sticking up out of the ground, and it's cracked in half, and there's a big like claw mark on it. Like somebody used it they grabbed it with a giant hand and used it to pull themselves up onto a rock and then over. And so there is a claw. I guess there'd be a claw mark in the stone as well. So there'd be the tree got pulled out of the ground and broken. And there's a slight claw mark on the stone next to it, like something big pulled itself up.
I can see that from how far away?
A ways.
So that's
like,
fucking huge then.
yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. I think I whistle down to the group, and if they can see me like point that direction, then I point that direction. I don't know if they're going to be able to see that. Would they be able to see what I'm pointing at from where they're at?
No, they're down in the little valley, so they can't. Yeah, they have to climb up to where you are.
Okay, well,
But it's easy enough for you to be like, come look at this. And then they just are there, right? Like,
yeah,
there's no rolls or any complicated shit that needs to be done.
Yeah, that's kind of the general gist of what I was doing. Is pointing at this tree that's been toppled over and this rock that's been pushed in.
Yep.
Are we following or avoiding? That doesn't look like a dwarf did that.
They're dragging someone. Could still be alive. I don't know.
Is that our concern? I don't mean to be cold-hearted, but we have our own priorities, Ramus.
It's who. We need to make sure it's not him first. We can just scout and peek.
Fair enough. Be careful. Let's keep your eyes out. I think I start walking towards it.
Or it could be one of the embers too.
That is true too. I assume we should check it out. It might be an ally. You're correct, Ramus. Yeah, I start walking.
Is there
towards
any
it.
like a science or it might be or not science. I meant history or some sort of check that I could put together the clues of like the prints, the bag, the dragging, the depth of the footprints and that kind of stuff to get like any sort of clue as to what it is?
If only there was some kind of skill you could use to investigate a situation.
Well, I did that. I thought I was using the investigation skill to maybe give advantage to like.
No, the investigation skill told you everything that I told you before about like.
Oh, that's it.
That it was two big things, and then yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
I sense danger.
That's not how that skill works, man.
Yes.
That's how
I mean,
it works.
also yes. If you say so, if you feel like you're in danger,
That's true.
You're probably not wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to start walking towards that place, but it's, as Ramus said, a scout mentality rather than like walking down the line that they drag this body.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to head in that direction and just see if there's any more clues along the way.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the direction you were going anyway.
Okay. Well, then I'm keeping it in eyesight specifically, trying to stay above it rather than below it, so I have as much kind of sight of the area. Higher up
Alright.
on the mountain is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and we'll keep to the regular path, and I'll be in front with the robe, with my all my eyes open.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you all head in that direction. Maharib, you attempt to stay up in the sort of harder terrain, but also keep pace.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So you continue along this way for several hours. The tracks continue. It's hard, like I said, hard to track them. The dragging goes comes and goes, depending on how soft the ground is. But those like claw marks occasionally are what you find to track. And
are there only claw marks? There's no blood, right? We haven't seen any blood.
No blood.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and just like small claw marks, not like big, deep gouges or anything.
Right.
But you notice them here and there, especially places where something would have to climb up an area. You'll see them like dug into the wall. But as you continue in this direction, you notice a smell first. This is a few hours later. 10 Pillars, you recognize it right away because it had occurred to you before what you might run into. There is this noxious smell in the air, and as you come around a corner, there is a big pile of poop, big black pile of what at first looks like smelly, kind of greasy mud, and it's 4 feet tall, maybe about that around or about across. It's a big pile of poop. And then also there are, I wonder what carrion animals. It would have been birds. There are a bunch of like buzzards, basically like scavenger birds, just dead, just lying dead, like a half dozen of them, just lying dead in a circle around this pile of poop.
How close are we to this? Are we like right up next to it? Like, however close we want to be?
No. I mean, you can just walk up to it, but you spot it and the wind shifts and you can smell it. Like I don't know. It doesn't matter how far away you are unless you have something you need to like know range on. You can get closer to it and check it out if you want.
Well, the thought was like if the birds were harmed or if it looks like they just ingested this.
Oh, you can't tell. Yeah, you can't tell just by glancing. You'd have to come in and make a medicine check and get a little closer.
I'll do that, but I'm also going to probably, for 2 reasons. 1, because it probably smells awful, but 2, I don't know if this is like poisonous or what. Trying to find out what killed the birds. Like if it was from impact of something or if they literally just ate poisonous shit.
Yeah. Okay. So you all kind of gather together and are you all going with Maharib or are you going to let Maharib scout ahead?
Yeah.
I'll go with Maharib.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you all approach this minor mountain of shit. And as you get close, that noxious smell, like it's not just bad poop smell. There's something else that's like making your eyes water, and you get to a point where if you want to get any closer, you have to like physically force yourself to do it. But you can get a closer look at things anyway. So you see all these dead birds just laying around. And I think if you want to make from this distance, if you want to make a medicine check, you can, but it'll be a disadvantage.
Can it be
your eyes are all watering and you're at a distance?
Can it be a discussion with Ramus and he makes the roll? I help.
Yeah. If you turn to Ramus and you're like, what do you think happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. I know that Ramus is more skilled in this, so.
All right, I will make a medicine check.
20.
9.
Well, you have help. You have Maharib's help,
got
right?
advantage,
okay.
20.
Because the reason JP wanted you to make the rolls, your modifiers higher. Yeah. So you get a 20. Okay. I mean, it looks clear to you that these birds saw like a predatory animal or something, and then came down to investigate because maybe there's some undigested meat in this pile of poop, and it killed them. They were poisoned and they died, and it looks like they died fast too. They died from digging around in the poop.
At least they died quickly.
What a shitty way to die, Maharib.
You don't get a single laugh from Maharib. He's just straight fit. Where does the path go from this this pile of shit?
It just continues. Like
The
it
same
seems
direction?
like whatever it was, just stopped for a minute and then carried on.
I'm gonna see if I can grab any sort of like stick or implement or something like that, and kind of like poke around in the shit to see if there's any like anything that signifies who these people were that or what these things were that got eaten. Bones, jewelry, fucking whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first make a Constitution saving throw.
Uh-oh.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. That is my absolute worst one too. Good.
Good
Great.
luck.
How about an 8?
Okay. All right. So you got the poisoned condition, and you're gonna take just a little bit of poison damage.
Oh, Jesus.
Probably a lot is what
Mm-hmm.
Adam means by that.
No, it's actually not that much.
That's
It's only
not too
2d8. So you take seven,
Okay.
take 7 poison damage, and the poison condition. Your head kind of starts to reel. You throw up in your mouth a little. Yeah, it's noxious. It's really bad. As you get close, your eyes start to water and things get blurry. And, yeah, it's not good.
Are you okay, 10 Pillars? I see him like stumble a little bit.
I got too close to it.
What-
Thought I could
Yeah, the
keep my
wind
distance.
turned slightly and it just went right up your nose.
What?
I
what-
thought just ingesting it would be that would give you enough. God, I can't even think straight. Ugh.
You're gonna be smelling it for days. Like it's just like up in your nostrils and like, ugh.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you want to, 10 Pillars, you've earned yourself like a round of being close to. If you want to dig around with the stick, you can make a roll if you want.
okay.
You're
Investigation?
there now. Yeah, I think you have disadvantage because you're poisoned though.
Okay.
That sounds probably right. Hey, it would have been a nice crit, but
30?
God damn. Okay, you got 30 on that one, even poisoned. Okay. So here's what I'll say that you find in the poop that is of interest. Now there's no there's no material in here that survived whatever the stomach acid of this creature was in terms of like softer material, right? Like there's no cloth, there's nothing that, no flesh, no skin, not even any hair. But you find like some undigested bones, and you find half of a skull. It's cracked in half, right? So it's like there's a line kind of across it, and you find that digging through the thing, you find half a skull. It's like somebody threw a severed head in their mouth, bit down once, and then swallowed the whole thing. And so there's this cracked skull that's in here, and you kind of dig that out of the pile.
I fished the skull out, but I don't know what
Yeah.
kind of skull it is.
No, you have to make a nature check.
Okay. I'll dig it out, like throw it on the fucking ground, like back away. Can you tell what that is? What creature that belongs to? I just
You are so stinking good at investigating. God.
Okay, Remus, stop it.
So somebody want to go examine the shit covered skull?
can we do it from afar? No.
No, you'll have to plug your nose and hold your breath and try to get up to it.
What does it matter? It's dead. Who cares what they
I
killed?
will do it.
Ugh.
I walk
Okay.
up and investigate it.
All right, yeah, make a nature check or medicine check. Both are fine.
Do medicine. 16.
It is the skull of a dwarf.
Oh, boy.
It is a dwarven skull, or I mean, it's half of a dwarven skull.
Oh no.
They appear to be middle-aged, maybe a little younger. The skull does not look like it was like chewed on. There's maybe little bits of like fiber still on it. It looks like the skin and the flesh and the eyeballs and all that stuff. It looks like they were dissolved in stomach acid, and all that's left is this sort of acid-scored, half-crushed skull.
Oh no, it's dwarven.
Perhaps this creature's intelligent. Maybe we can follow it and strike a bargain.
10 Pillars said it was dragging what looked like a bag. It may have some of these alive as like road snacks.
Adam, can I?
Yeah, I mean, if you
Well,
if
go
you
ahead.
look up, like you're following these tracks, the two creatures, right? There are two distinct sets of these big footprints. Whatever they were dragging, they didn't leave it here. They took it with them.
Adam, I
Yeah.
want to have a Sherlock Holmes
Yeah.
moment.
Okay.
Am I able?
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at my intelligence. Hold on. With a
You want to
13
unravel the
intelligence.
mysteries of poop?
No.
Mhm.
Am I able to tell the speed at which they are traveling from the marks that they're leaving on the ground? With a 13 intelligence.
I mean, that's a survival
Is that
survival
just
roll.
a straight
right? So, like,
survival check?
yeah, because the problem with all of this bullshit is that you don't have any mud. Like the ground here is so hard, you can't
Can't get
you
a
need
good
consistent footprints because with consistent footprints you can tell stride, and with stride you could guess how fast they travel
right.
based on like if you can go X amount and their stride is 10 times longer than yours, they could ostensibly cover 10 times as much ground in the same speed. But basically what you're doing here is you're trying to track them. You're trying to figure out the movement speed of whatever creatures you're tracking.
Right.
Absolutely, that's a thing you could do. Make a survival check.
All right. We'll see how this goes. I'll use inspiration here. This might help.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, 20. It did.
All right. So the two creatures you are following don't have the same
Stride.
step pattern. One of them is heavier and smaller. The other is bigger and has a longer stride. But both of them, and I'll just say this in game mechanics terms, they both, one of them has a movement speed of 40 and one has 30. So you definitely can catch up to them if you keep pushing on. Because the one that's going 40 has to keep slowing down so you'll notice as you've been tracking them that the far one gets ahead and then stops. The other one catches up, goes ahead and stops. And so it's kind of like watching a parent and a child, right? Because they keep having to wait for the slow one.
Right. Okay. So the three of you see Mahari like hunch down, and I'm like touching their whatever marks they're leaving in the ground, and look up and say, "We can catch them if you want to. At least catch up to them, but we need to start now. I don't know how old these tracks are, but we will eventually overcome them."
And what would be the reason for doing this? I could think of a few. I just want to know what you're thinking.
If they're not savage beasts, perhaps they can, I don't know, tell us where they killed this dwarf or find what is in those bags. They might have more information of these hills in general. Or they might just want to kill us. Either or.
Well, I'm willing to go with anyone with you to. Oh, Ramus, do you have anything that would help me? I'm not feeling well.
I have just the thing. I walk up to you, and then I reach out my arms like I'm gonna cast a spell on you that will heal all your wounds. And I wrap my arms around you and just pat you on the back head and say, there. It'll be okay.
God damn you. And I wait for the spell to take hold, and I wait to feel better. And since I'm like, unless you push me away, I'm going to just say like I'm just like on your shoulder.
Like the poisoned situation, the condition will fade if you just step away from the big pile of poop. It will eventually fade. And whether 10 Pillars believes that's because of Ramus or not is up to you.
I guess I'm slowly pulling you away from it as well as we're
How long
doing it.
Here, over
Does this spell take to Just start working. I don't feel any better yet.
Sometimes it helps to move just a little bit. Just keep stepping this way, over here. I got you, big boy. I start carrying you away into the fresh air, away from the poop.
If you didn't want to help me, Ramus, or couldn't, you could have just said that. It's fine. And I start walking as best I can, trying to follow Maharib.
Yeah, I start following the
So
track.
you're gonna, yeah. I mean, if you want to continue tracking these things, you definitely can because it's basically going in the same direction.
Yeah, that's the goal, or that's Maharib's goal.
Okay. All right. So heading in that direction,
And if
continuing on.
if so, we're moving at
Yeah.
double time, so we're trying to overcome them in the sense of if they're
Yeah.
moving
So
at-
you
yeah.
wanna hustle?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you spend the rest of the day hustling, like really giving her, everybody make a Constitution saving throw. Max, what I said before about not getting exhaustion, don't fail to save.
Ramus got it.
I'm going to use my inspiration for this.
Oh, I might have failed.
Everybody hates
I
it.
am as well.
All you
I am
gotta
as well.
do
I'm
is,
gonna do
that.
oh,
Are we all gonna get
no.
inspired or all?
Robbed. It's only the
I do
first
not
day
like being
of like
exhausted.
really hustling it. So 10 pillars and Ramus will. Berg, what'd you get?
I haven't rolled yet,
Constitution
but I'm using my inspiration
Don't blow
because fuck exhaustion.
This is it. This is
Con
how we
save?
use up inspiration. I just force Constitution saves. Yes. Boom.
Easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
fuck, I
So
don't even need it.
Ramus and 10 pillars mark a level of exhaustion. Maharib's pace is just too much for y'all. And you have a level of exhaustion. And I think that here's the thing, Maharib. This is what helps.
Okay.
The group of you, and actually this might be I think a good shot to
break?
come into break on too.
Yeah.
So Maharib, you're following these tracks, right? And as night starts to fall, right, and you notice 10 pillars and Ramus are starting to get tired, and you're starting to think of like, okay, maybe they've got a bigger lead on me than I thought. And you bring everybody up this sort of the side of this large kind of outcropping of rock because the path you were in before cuts off. You can't follow it anymore. So you have to climb up the side here and then out onto the top. And when you look down from where you're at, you see 3 figures. 2 of which are the enormous quarry you have been following. They are both they're both, I guess they're nude. It's hard to really tell. Their skin is this grayish kind of rocky color. One of them is about the same general proportions as like a steam bun. Like it's just like very large in the middle, kind of a little head. It's like 10 feet tall and covered in this sort of like black, like greasy kind of fur. That one is the slower of the 2. The other is much taller. It's like 15 feet tall. It has a basic human shape, right? It has a chest and legs. It has on one side a cluster of 3 arms of varying sizes, one large, one small, and then like another kind of medium-sized one. The other side has one big arm and then 3 small arms just kind of limply hanging out. And then it has a cluster like a bunch of grapes. It has 3 fully formed heads and then a 4th head kind of growing out of its chest, and then maybe just an eye and like part of a mouth on one other shoulder. And the 2 of them in between these enormous hideous giants, in between the 2 of them is a dwarf. You see a dwarf here. They appear to be unconscious. Their wrists are tied. They're wearing a filthy like tunic and pants. They have 1 boot on, and their wrists are tied. And there's a long rope that is tied around. Actually, wouldn't even be tied around a boulder. The giant just lifted the boulder, put the rope under it, and put the boulder on top of the rope. And the dwarf is unconscious and doesn't seem to be able to get away. But these things seem to have been traveling at night because what you're watching, you see them like waking up. So, the big one, the one with the multiple heads, its eyes are starting to blink and like look around, and it's starting to get up and kind of stretching. And the big soft one is also kind of like coming to. and like looking around. And this is what we see down in a little valley as the group of you kind of climb up onto the edge of the rock and peer down. And that's what we see. So why don't we take our break here, and then when we come back, we can figure out what you want to do about this situation.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a break, and then we'll deal with that bullshit when we come back. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be right back. More Court of Swords coming up right after this. We'll see you guys in just a bit.